Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jennifer, and we are a middle aged couple with a Regal Unlimited subscription and an unrelenting passion for movie theater popcorn.
And somehow we're making a video in the sunlight,
Yeah, we're
which is
doing this in the
unusual.
daytime.
We're doing this in the daytime because we saw a movie together and we make a video for a movie we see together in 2026, except we didn't see this movie
We
together.
didn't see this movie together, yeah.
We saw it separately, but we both saw the same movie.
Yes, we did.
What movie did we see? You go. I'm literally asking you a question.
Okay, except it's your job to say it. Masters of the Universe.
We saw Masters of the Universe. Yes, which you and I were both fans of Masters of the Universe toys as kids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's saying yes.
Yeah.
I was very much into Masters of the Universe toys. I had Man-at-Arms was my first one because he looked cool. He wasn't just a jock. And this is a movie about jocks, by the way.
Sure, I mean, it's a movie about Masters of the Universe, and, it's kind of how it goes. Yeah, I had both Tila and Evil Lyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had the girls.
Yeah, because my brother had He-Man.
Sure.
Right. And he might have had Master at Arms. I don't remember if he had that one, but he definitely had He-Man.
Right.
And I had Tila and Evil Lyn.
Very good. So this is a movie meant to capture our nostalgia. We are literally the only target audience for this movie.
Exactly. This movie is not... Like, this movie is the TV show, but the TV show was meant for children. This movie is emphatically not meant for children. Beyond the fact that there's no child that knows that this thing exists. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Mattel was like, oh, everybody went to see the Barbie movie, so obviously they will see other things that come from, the toys that we've made. But as far as I know, Masters of the Universe hasn't, like, continued on, right? Like, maybe you can watch the shows, like, on YouTube or something, but is anyone watching them? I don't think any kids know this exists. I don't think anybody under 40 knows this shit exists, right? So...
Hard to say.
Yeah.
Without talking to children, which we are not going to do.
It seems impractical right now.
Yeah. So it's like literally, I can't imagine. And the thing is, this is nostalgia specifically for the Masters of the Universe as they existed when you and I were children.
Watching the cartoon,
or
if you saw the movie, which I don't remember actually seeing the 1980s Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren. I don't think I ever saw that movie.
I didn't see it in theaters, but I definitely saw it on cable.
Yeah.
And it's god awful, unsurprisingly. But Dolph Lundgren has a cameo in this movie, and the audience. I was sitting next to a guy who was clearly like ready for this movie, so ready for it. Every joke was hilarious to this guy. Every little reference and Easter egg made him go, yes!
I had people on both sides of me who were that person.
Yeah.
One of whom I came with, and the other one, a perfect stranger, whose seat we were actually sitting in because I misnumbered the seats, but it didn't matter. And both people were just like, yes, particularly, like, oh my God, it's Dolph Lundgren. Like, yeah.
So clearly there are people who really want to see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that also there have been animated shows recently on like Netflix. There was the She-Ra show.
Oh, that's what I'm
loved.
forgetting. Okay, yeah, there are younger people then that will know this, like something about this lore, if we're going to use that word that I fucking detest. I hate that word. Right? But the universe of this story, even if they never went back and watched those cartoons, I did forget about that.
There was also a Masters of the Universe update cartoon, but it did not succeed. It was not particularly successful.
When did that come out?
Right after She-Ra.
Oh.
They clearly thought, oh, well, She-Ra worked. We're going to do a He-Man version. And from what I remember, it was like a dark, gritty reboot, which was an interesting idea.
I don't even remember that happened. Okay. I remember the She-Ra show, and I didn't watch it. Did we start watching it and not like it?
We watched like one episode.
Yeah.
Alexa loved it, though.
Yeah,
Our friend. Oh. Who you went to see this movie with.
My movie-watching companion, who was all in.
Yeah. So,
just as I was.
It's not like Master of the Universe has disappeared from the face of the earth, but it's certainly not the property it used to be. And both of those were attempts to take the whole idea of it seriously and kind of do something more interesting with those characters. This is not that. This is just 100% nostalgia fun, and it is fan service. It's just endless fan service.
It is, and it's not. And I can't decide whether this movie is utterly horrible or whether it is absolute genius.
I
And,
would not go that far.
you know, it's like,
In either direction, honestly.
well, yes, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but like, it just, He-Man is the most like, when you stop and think about the cartoons from a 2026 perspective, the character and the characters and the whole story is just like nothing. Like, it's just nonsense, right? And it's this total just like, yes, man with muscle, like the toy is so muscle bound.
Yeah.
And is limited in its motion that it's just like, I am thing, and then I it swivels at the hips, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't like bend. It like,
Did it swivel from the hips?
yes, it absolutely did. I vividly remember like this thing was like practically all it could do, right?
Remember the arms and legs got up and down.
And it's like,
And the head.
that's just what the character was, like just this like block, right? And how much are we spoiling this movie?
I don't know if you
conversation.
can spoil this movie, because if you saw the trailer, you saw the movie.
You
And
didn't,
you know how it
though.
ends. I mean, come
Well,
on.
yes, you do, and you don't. So like,
We won't spoil like individual details, but I think we can spoil the main plot.
yeah. So I mean, I guess okay.
We'll mark this as spoilers. So just go
it might
ahead
be
and
worth
say
marking
what
this as
you need to
spoilers
say.
because like where the movie starts, right? It starts with him describing Eternia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you've got to be joking me. Like, that for me is the definition of a terrible movie, is one where you have to give narration, this like simplistic narration of here's where the place is and here's what happens and here's, what's going on and who some of the people are and whatever. And I'm like, you gotta be joking me, right? But then what it is him on a date, like explaining who he is because he lives on Earth, not in Eternia, right? Like, and so that kind of like two layers of it, of like him as like this like misplaced dude in like Oklahoma City who's not particularly accomplished or interesting or sane or anything else, was like this just kind of total surprise to me. And I couldn't decide, because I think it changed for me from minute to minute, whether it was like totally retrograde and it's like you're supposed to feel contempt for this like guy who's not assertive and like, his job is conflict resolution and it's not violence. Who, are you supposed to have contempt for this man who does who doesn't do violent things? And you're supposed to think that the only possible good thing you could possibly do is be the dude with the sword who like, kills people with the sword. And I don't think the movie ever decides whether you're supposed to have contempt for the person who's involved in conflict resolution or not.
Adam Glenn.
Right. And I guess it's good that it doesn't decide, because I think if it did decide, the answer would be one I didn't like. But it's weird that it doesn't ever decide. But it plays with that all along, of like, he's just an idiot. He is like an incompetent idiot buffoon in large portions of this movie.
Yeah.
And I just did not expect that at all. And I think that's what made the movie not just like boring or not just a retread of the cartoon, because I don't remember that character being incompetent in any shape or form.
No,
like, he
I
tries
mean,
to figure stuff out.
Prince
But,
Adam in the cartoon was always, everyone was like, oh, Prince Adam
Yeah.
fucked up again.
Yeah.
And always like, oh, if only he was as strong as
He-Man, right.
Where he has the same build as He-Man, and he looks exactly like He-Man. And, like, nobody is fooled, which they make a joke out of in this movie. But it comes way too late, and it doesn't make any sense when it comes. I had to like figure out what joke they were making, because at one point he says, oh, we'd better get He-Man for this particular job, and and then all the other characters are like, yes, let's get He-Man, and then Adam says, I'll just go back in the castle and give him a call or whatever, and everyone's
No,
like,
he says like he says I'll go back and change because he doesn't want to do the change in front of everybody.
The joke is that all these other characters, they know perfectly well that he is He-Man.
Right. There's not. He wasn't hiding it from them. He was just.
Maybe I didn't even get the joke.
Yeah, he wasn't. He just wasn't like getting naked in front of them. Basically,
I thought it was basically like Clark Kent saying, "Well, I'd better go now so Superman can come," and Lois Lane going, "Yeah, okay, Clark."
Yeah. No, they all knew it was like Duncan says like, yeah, he just doesn't want to change in front of everybody.
Clearly, I didn't get this joke. I know that there are 2 or 3 people who comment on our videos who are now going to tell me why I'm an idiot because I didn't get this joke. So have at it, guys. We really love it when you make fun of us in our comments. Anyway, so but yeah, so it's interesting, and I have a lot to say about what you said because about this movie never really kind of finding answers to its own questions. I think that is a lot of this movie, and I think so. One is we are shown Adam's childhood in Eternia. Another thing is this movie takes forever to get started.
This movie is incredibly long.
Incredibly long.
It is incredibly long.
The first hour of it is just him meeting up with Tila so they can go back to Eternia.
Well, and his backstory,
his life
right?
on Earth,
like
and
his life on Earth,
not particularly interesting, and yeah. Okay, so and his roommate who has no function in this movie whatsoever. Anyway, so...
But I love him.
Okay. But so the movie starts with Adam on Eternia being raised by King Randor, who is using Man-at-Arms to, played by Idris Elba. Duncan, to... And another thing, we don't ever... Okay, there's so many things to say. So anyway, Duncan is training all the children of Eternia in how to become warriors. And
all the children are like middle school age or older, except somehow for Adam, he's like 8, and he's supposed to be able to fight them.
He's a prince. He's supposed to be better than everybody else.
Okay, but he's a foot shorter than everybody else.
And he sucks. He's terrible at fighting, and he doesn't want to do it.
And he's an idiot, but he's 8.
And this jock culture is like, no, you got to learn how to fight. And so they all try to make him fight, and he just won't do it, and he's no good at it. It was fascinating to see this in context of, say, the Wonder Woman movie, the first one.
Yeah.
Where Wonder Woman, the child Wonder Woman is just such an incredible, badass, like, little, spunky kid. And here you have Adam, who's just a doofus and not interested in fighting. And... his father comes out, and we are given an incredibly emotional moment. This movie does have, like, some interesting directing in it, because this moment where Randor says, if you can't learn how to fight, you're useless to me. And Duncan is like, well, just stand up, and then your father will see that you didn't give up.
When he looks back at you, because the father is walking away.
And then the father never looks back.
Yeah.
So Adam has spent his whole life being the jock who couldn't jock, and whose jock father had disdain for him, and all the other jocks hated him, and all he's wanted to be is a jock. Tries going to the gym, and Dolph Lundgren makes fun of him. And yet, later on in the movie, when King Randor and Adam meet up again, and Adam says, I'm so sorry, I've always been a disappointment to you, King Randor says, I never cared about the jock stuff. Despite the fact that the movie made it very, very clear that he did.
Yeah.
And was very upset about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is that kind of movie. Like, it just doesn't follow up on its own plot points. So, like, there are things like Adam has spent his whole childhood on Earth drawing all of his favorite Eternian people and turning them into characters.
He's trying to keep it in his memory. He's not trying to turn them into characters.
But he couldn't remember their actual names.
Right.
So he gives them names like Ram Man and Fisto. When he gets back to Eternia 15 years later, he says, "Oh, you're Fisto, you're Ram Man," and they're like, "Who? What? No,
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not my name."
But they never say their
But they
their
never
actual
say their
names.
actual names.
Yeah.
And later in the movie, they just say, "I'm Fisto,
Yeah,
I'm Ram Man,"
Man. Yeah.
because apparently Adam can just rename people.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and then, so the final thing I wanted to say about all that is that the movie also cannot take He-Man seriously.
Nope.
To an extent that it becomes a problem. To the extent that, and the first thing they teach you in writing class is never say in a story, "Oh, I know this sounds stupid, but," or, "Yeah, that just happened," or anything that suggests that your story is dumb or silly. Because that tells the audience, I don't need to worry about this story. It's not important, and I don't care. Because the writer didn't care. This movie does this in every frame. Every frame of this movie is somebody saying, "Adam, your idea of what Eternia is dumb," or "the whole concept of Eternia is dumb." The whole concept of these various characters is dumb. Their individual characters are dumb. The idea of He-Man is dumb. The name He-Man is the dumbest thing of all. The big joke is that when he was working in human resources, he had a little placard on his desk that said Adam Glenn, he/him. And so that's how he got He-Man.
I did not get that because he gave himself the name He-Man when he was a little kid.
And they asked
when he
him
was
why
drawing it.
He-Man. And he's like, well, he, like, masculine,
Yeah.
male. And
Yeah.
they're all like, isn't that redundant? Yeah, which
Yes,
it is.
it
That's
is.
It's a dumb name.
Yes.
It absolutely was. It always been a dumb name, but it is a name that generations of kids, or a generation of kids, fell in love with, and you don't make fun of that. Like, that is the core IP of this property, right?
It is, but see, I guess I understand your reaction to it, and I think I have a different one. But sometimes, like, it is utterly ridiculous, and the movie literally says it is insane and it is ridiculous, and yet also takes it really seriously, right? Like, takes it seriously in the sense that, like, he does turn into He-Man, and he is able to, like, accomplish his goals as He-Man, and will continue to be He-Man while also being, like, buffoony, and recognizing that some of this is, like, thoroughly ridiculous. It's like trying to hold both of those things as true at the same time, and it doesn't really succeed in it. But I appreciate the fact that it's willing to say, like, this is kind of bugfuck crazy, like, where, everything else you just kind of take seriously, you know what I mean? Like, Barbie and Barbie World and stuff you take absolutely seriously. That's bugfuck crazy,
But that's
like,
why it works.
but that's why it works. But there's something also to the, like, yeah, you thought I was crazy, but I'm not crazy. Like, this world is crazy, but it's real, and I live in it, and, I'm going to be He-Man in this world, and these other people are, Fisto and everybody else, and, like, and occasionally they do strange things, like stand around in a circle and laugh, very awkwardly, which, they do at the end of all the cartoons, right? Yeah. Like, so we do it at the end of the movie. Like, yeah, it's totally inside its own asshole as, like, reference and constant reference, and also poking fun at it, but not always, like, literally making fun of it, not just, like, poking at it. And I'm not offended by that.
Okay.
Like, but, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Like, I don't know. You can't help but compare it to the Barbie movie, but also I'm thinking about the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Sure.
That I think this movie wishes it was as good as the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Like the most recent
Barbie,
one.
for that matter.
Well, sure. I mean, of course, that's what it is aimed to be,
yeah.
right? But, and so it's very much like, oh, we did this ultimate woman character. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to do the ultimate man character. Mm-hmm. But you can't sustain a movie of this guy just being like, I'm He-Man, gonna go kill, right? Like, so you've got to balance it out in some way, and the balance is very strange and unbalanced. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. And it made all this like, it's just all these references, and not just references to the show, but references, just the way it used 80s stuff in the show for a director that I think isn't old enough to remember the 80s.
Right.
Like it just used things very, very well. That just constantly was like, this is what I'm hearing. This is the music that I'm hearing. This is the choice that you are making here. Like, it's so fucked up and so weird and so funny. And
there are some great jokes.
Yeah, not just great jokes, but like the other kind of reference stuff in the music. Like they use Princes of the Universe that's in Highlander after they make a reference to
Highlander,
a reference to Highlander in the movie. Like, sure, why not?
The funny part is that like that song, like maybe a third of that song appears in the Highlander movie.
Yeah.
They play the whole damn song.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a weird song.
Exactly.
Many time signature changes.
Yep.
In the middle of the verses. It's a very strangely put together song.
Yeah. And there's this score that includes all this, like, the sound of this movie is so 80s because the score is a pop music score, and it is throughout the entire fucking movie. Like, I watched Lady Hawk for the first time in a long time, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, and had forgotten that it had this completely insane of the moment synthesizer soundtrack that was playing over everything, right? Like, you would make a score that was pop music and have it over everything. The score, yes, is supposed to tell you the emotional beats, but it really is just like pop music over it, right? So this movie did that. And then I didn't realize until the end, part of why it was so fucking genius was that it was Brian May, who had written all the guitar part,
and Princes of the Universe,
yes. And so it was just like sonically perfect, even though the sounds didn't actually match, it didn't match the movie, but it matched the movie, because it was just so of the moment. So yeah, it was just like this giant nostalgia trip of like craziness,
I guess.
And
spoilers.
I'm not insulted that it's holding up He-Man and saying this is crazy, because He-Man is fucking crazy.
I mean, I guess spoilers for this video is that for all the problems this movie has, and the fact that I wouldn't say it's a particularly good movie. Yeah. We both enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the crap out of it. Yes.
Fun. Maybe it's just the nostalgia factor or whatever. But yeah. I want to say one last thing that is a criticism of this movie, and then talk about the best thing in the movie.
Okay.
And so the criticism is, this is not unique to He-Man. This is a thing I'm seeing in a lot of movies recently. There is no second act to this movie. We get the first act of Adam on Earth and then being brought to Eternia. And we get the third act, which is where he goes and confronts Skeletor. There's nothing in between. Like, literally, they bring him to Eternia. The bad guys are about to kill him because he's still just this dude from Earth. And he can't remember what to say to activate the Sword of Power. So, literally, the sorceress has to come to him in a vision and say, these are the words to say them after me. And he says, oh, right, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, and turns into He-Man for the first time. Immediately after this, there's no intervening scenes, really. Skeletor says, come to Snake Mountain, or, I'm going to kill everybody. So he just goes there, and we get directly into the big confrontation between He-Man and Skeletor, which does not end until the movie ends. And so there's no second act to this movie. There is no challenge to overcome. There is no learning how to use the power. There is no, there are a couple moments of him doing it wrong, but then he pretty much is just like, he's rusty. And then suddenly, oh yeah, now I know how to do it. And suddenly he's absolutely He-Man again. But there's no struggle in this movie. There's no training. There's no there's no moment of him truly doubting himself. Once he has the sword and the sword works, every plot complication just goes away, including the movie keeps throwing because He-Man versus Skeletor, He-Man wins. We all know this, so it has to have a little bit of tension, but those bits of tension are constantly diffused and then taken away from you as soon as they're introduced. So there's no doubt. Like, yeah, you know that He-Man is going to beat Skeletor. The movie knows it, and Skeletor knows it. The best joke in the movie is when Skeletor is rushing to Castle Grayskull to get the sword, and He-Man gets there first. And as he grabs it, Skeletor says, "Oh, balls." Just because he knows he's doomed. So,
well, I mean, I would say in many ways the best thing about the movie, for one movie, is Jared Leto.
yeah, no, that's what I was going to say too.
Just like
Skeletor is the best part.
takes,
Yes.
finds the screen, and chews it to fucking bits in ways that are perfect for this character, right?
Honestly,
like, it's just so over the top. It's bugfuck crazy. I loved it.
My original thinking about this was the same as I had about what's his name from The Bear being Rudda the Hutt.
Oh, yeah.
In that Hollywood paid millions of dollars to have a name actor be a character who is 100% CGI, and they alter his voice. And in fact, in the run-up to Masters of the Universe, the producers actually asked Jared Leto not to come to the premiere, not to do any promotion or publicity for it, because he was going to hurt the movie.
Yeah.
Yet they paid him millions of dollars to be in this role. Having seen the final product, I can say at least some of that money was justified, because Jared Leto is a great Skeletor.
He is awesome.
He does a great job with it.
Yeah.
He has this absolute... I compare it... Nobody's going to get this reference, but it reminded me very much of the main character of Frisky Dingo, who is an alien who is trying to destroy the Earth, but then is constantly sidetracked by, like, his henchmen and so on are such terrible... They're so terrible at admin. It's an animated show from Adult Swim. But he's like this evil villain who is allowed to do evil things, and yet is still funny, and still has like some actual character to him. And Skeletor is exactly the same. Like Skeletor, there's no origin story for Skeletor.
Nope.
There's no explanation about why he wants all this power.
Nope.
There's no other than he's just evil and he wants power. I think he says as much.
No, there's somebody who else. I think it's Tila who says, because I think Adam asks like, who is this guy and like where does he come from? And Tila is like, he's bad.
Yeah.
And that's all she says,
Yeah.
because that's all you need to know. He's bad.
Yeah, he's assisted by Evil Lynn, who does absolutely nothing.
And I'm sorry, the only true miscasting in this movie. Why is that Alison Brie?
Why was it not Shazir Zamira?
Oh, Shazir Zameda?
Zameda, yes.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
was she not Evil Lynn?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
They
she
paid
would
her
have
to be
made
in
an
this movie.
amazing Evil Lynn. Yeah,
They should
instead
have
she
just
was
switched
this.
roles.
Yeah,
They should
she
have
was
switched
this
roles.
weird
Because
HR
Alison Brie
lady
would have been fantastic
as the crazy
HR
HR lady. Yeah.
But no, so Evil Lynn, who's just here, and I'm still not clear, is Evil Lynn Skeletor's major domo, his chief of staff, or his girlfriend?
Can't you be both?
You can be all three. It's fine, but I don't. The movie doesn't explain it, and doesn't
No,
really want to talk about it.
No, there's there's she clearly has this desire to be dominated by him and enjoys it. He doesn't notice one way or the other whether she enjoys it or not.
The whole movie is just Skeletor saying, "Evil Lynn, go do this evil thing," and she says, "Right on it. I will take care of this for you, Skeletor," and then fails to do it.
Yep.
Doesn't even bother to try.
Yeah.
And I don't get why she's in this movie, other than the fact that she's a character from He-Man. So, but we're going way long on this, much more than Masters of the Universe deserves.
But this movie is so goddamn long, so
It is.
yeah.
So, but Skeletor is fantastic. He just gives that aura of menace while still leaving room for jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And still, he's going to lose, but he's just evil enough that you're like, ooh, I hope he loses.
Mm-hmm.
And it just saves the movie on some level.
Yep.
That's all I got to say about Masters of the Universe. It is a half-hour video about Masters of the Universe.
Sure, but like, of course, this is going to bring up all sorts of stuff, right? But like, yeah, I enjoyed this movie. Like, I don't know if I enjoyed it because it was good, or I enjoyed it because it was bad, or I enjoyed it because of both of those things. Because I think it's a little bit of good and it's a little bit of bad. but all of it was enjoyable. And yeah, it's probably not a movie to rewatch, just like I feel like the cartoon is not something to rewatch because you're just going to realize even more, like, that's bug fuck crazy, man.
So it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
There's some
Looks
pretty,
very, very
there's
good.
some pretty good jokes.
Yeah.
There's some good action scenes too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the strength of this movie, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, Hollywood can't do action scenes anymore anyway. So, like when we watched Furious, and we were like, "Oh, that's right. That's how you do action scenes."
Sure, but I mean, nobody in Hollywood has ever done action scenes like that, so
Sure.
like it's not. You got to compare apples to apples here.
But it's an action movie. Okay. It's the video's too long. Okay, yes, we definitely recommend this movie for anyone over the age of 40.
Yeah, pretty much.
Otherwise, no, do not see
Yeah.
this.
It's not for you.
Your brain will come dribbling out of your ear if you are under 40. Okay.
Because our brains are already mush, so it's fine.
All right. So let's wrap this up and say
Bye.
until next time.